Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of our go-to-market series. And today we'll be speaking on influencer marketing. And we're so lucky today to have a big fish in all the ramifications of that word. And you will know why in the next 30 minutes or so of this whole session, because this person breathes brand, breathes marketing, breathes influencer marketing. And to your surprise, most likely, even if you go out to your fridge and open your fridge, or maybe you go out the door and check the billboard outside, one of those brands that you see in your fridge or even outside has been pushed by this same person. Over 200 brands, global brands, over the best companies in this world of Isobar, Jumia, Godrek, have all experienced awesome touch. And today we'll be lucky to have her here. She will be talking about being an influencer marketer as a 9-to-5er, and also if you're starting on your own. And trust me, you can't afford to miss every bit of things she'll be saying and she'll be telling us today. We're so honored at Growthverse to have Damilola Olalegan today with us to speak and make clarity about this topic. Welcome, Damilola.
Thank you, Timothy. I mean, this introduction,
this is a no humility zone, actually. So please, take everything I say.
It's plenty.
Yeah. So we'll quickly dive right into it as well, because we want to get as much value as soon as possible from her before she goes on to other calls and other engagements. So quickly and very importantly, from a professional like you, an experienced professional like you, with decades of experience, what is influencer marketing?
So as much as possible, just because we're trying to get everyone to understand it, to be very super simplified in such a way that anyone can understand it. But if we're talking about influencer marketing in general, influencer marketing it's like a mix of new and old media marketing tools, and then it's more like it has a lot to do with social media marketing and using endorsements and just product mentions, in terms of using endorsements for celebrities and people that are termed influential, which is where the term influencer marketing comes to play, using people that are seemingly influential in whatever circle online. Let's put online because it has a lot to do with online marketing. So it's influential in your circle, where if you're a celebrity or just somebody that has a niche following, like you speak to a certain topic or a certain genre of stuff. So it's more like people that have bragging rights in a certain field are now used as promoters of brands.
Yeah, that's
so in a nutshell, you would just say influencer marketing deals with promotion of brands through highly influential individuals.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for that. And I think with what you said about influencers, it says that money, right? I think from me, that's what it means, right? Influencers, money, celebrities. So I would say for being an influencer marketer, what are the potentials for me? Like, will I be as rich as that influencer, it himself or herself? So what are the potentials, basically?
So it's funny that you ask, would you be as rich as the influencer? That's a tough one. It's a dicey one, because there are different tiers of influencers. You have your mega influencers and you have your nano influencers. Mega being people that have over 1 million followers, and nano as little as maybe 2K followers and stuff online or on a particular platform. But if you're saying, would you have as much money as these influencers? I would say yes. Would you make as much money? I'll say yes and no. Yeah. My yes is because for everything you do where influencer marketing is concerned, there's the fee that's being paid to the influencer, obviously, and there's the fee that's being paid to you. Well, this is assuming this is your job solely. Like, this is not like a 9 to 5. This is you as an entrepreneur. This is all you have your own agency. The amount that is being paid to you most times is like a percentage of what the influencer is earning, or whatever commissions you have kind of agreed with whoever you're working with. Yeah. And so with that, it's like, okay, you get a significant amount based on what the influencer is getting, but it's never going to be more than what the influencer is getting per time. But the difference is that's if you're working with one influencer. If you're working with multiple influencers, however, yes, you wouldn't earn a total sum of what all of them are earning, but you will earn a significant sum that will be more than what even 1, 2, 3 influencers are going to get, depending on how much we're talking about. But then again, are you as rich as the influencer? At the end of the day, there's also the bit where you think of, as you're working with multiple influencers to do this, the influencer is also working with multiple brands. So it's more of a positioning thing and how much you can do. Yeah? So you can be as rich as the influencer, and no, you might not be as rich as the influencer.
Okay. At least what I will ensure that I pick from there, because of course, everybody that will be concerned and watching this video are actually concerned about at least 2 things minimum: is the potentials of earning, and in everything you said, I can see money lining everywhere, because this is not this for us to even compare ourselves to the point of earning compared to some influencers, meaning this place must be very juicy, right? So I want to say, so that is one angle of earnings, and maybe you'll still help us dive deeper as well concerning what the average would be, comparing that to other marketing roles that we have in a marketing department, right? And also, what is the potential? Sometimes marketers want to make impact with their work, and I'm sure you have done a lot of that, like helped your own brand or a client's brand to get visibility. So in terms of not just even money, impact, like what are the potential to say, oh, I'm proud that I did a campaign, maybe the campaign now did 1 billion people, brought these results. What are the potentials? How much of a change? How much power does an influencer marketer? How much power do they have?
The beautiful part of influencer marketing and influencing in general is that your impact is felt pretty much immediately or almost immediately, as opposed to your traditional advertising where, okay, it's a billboard somewhere or it's a TV ad and all of that, and there's no way of giving feedback to the brand, for instance, that, oh, I saw your ad and it was great, and so I went to the market to get XYZ and stuff like that. The difference with influencer marketing is that it's on the online space. It's a very interactive, it's pretty much super interactive, and so it's like when an influencer puts up anything, you get the feedback you need almost immediately, pretty much. And even with a lot of influencer marketing things that we do in Nigeria and even more out of the country, these things are tied to links, they're tied to voucher codes and stuff like that, which means that you can see a direct link with whatever the influencer is doing and how it's giving an impact to your brand. There's the top of mind awareness, there's everything that's been spoken about it. If you're looking for today, the best way to get feedback on anything you're doing is to do it online, because it's in real time. You're doing stuff online, it's in real time, and so you can proper measure the impact.
Yeah, that's great. Because I believe as marketers, we want to feel good about what we do, right? And I believe that's actually a very good space to be in there.
Big space. I mean, you have all the bragging rights. Like if someone says, oh, what did you do? What did it give us? You go and, bring the numbers, this impressions, that and that. XYZ number of people are talking about it online right now. There's no other way you're going to get that information.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so I think the final bit will be about earning. So the average earning, how would you rate the average earning like in Nigeria as an influencer marketer?
We need to make sure that an influencer marketer earns as much as I don't want to pitch any other like marketing role, yeah, with what an influencer marketer should be earning, but it's not a junior role. If anything, it's not a junior role, so should not be treated as that. Payment should not be anything that is in the junior line, because what happens here is this person is coming up with strategies that you're probably going to feed to, say, 10, 20, 50, 100 influencers, depending on per time. And if all of these people say the wrong thing about your brand because you're paying somebody peanuts, and so they're doing the most minimal job where talking about your company is concerned, it's going to affect you adversely.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that these guys are super influential. So whatever they say about your brand is what people would run with.
Sure.
So pay influencer marketing people a lot of money.
Okay. No, I'm sure that we can actually relate with that. See, at least from you, we know they pay well. Okay. And also, just a bit that maybe wasn't mentioned earlier. Damilola is a founder of a big agency, a global agency actually, with global brands engaging her, which tells you more about what the potential of this role is. So I didn't say anything actually, nothing. I said nothing. Okay, quickly, we've spoken about the potential, right? So now we want to know what do people need to actually succeed in this role? Basically, what are the competency models?
Well, so the first thing is that you need to be creative. You need to be a very creative person. You need to be good at strategy. At creating strategies is super important, because regardless of how creative you are, if you cannot align your creativity with a proper strategy, it's going to end up in chaos. Yeah? You don't want a case where you have a campaign and you just have this big idea, and then after the big idea, the message is not being landed. Yeah?
True.
So it can be all glossy and beautiful, and then nobody understands what it's supposed to be. So yeah, you need to be creative, you need to be good with strategy. You have to understand marketing as a whole, because influence, again, it's influencer marketing. It's not taking out of marketing, it's within the whole marketing scope. You also have to be people oriented. Yeah, you have to be good at managing people. It's very important, because if I'm going to use myself as an example, I've had times when I've worked with as little as, say, 4 influencers. I've had times when in one sitting I've worked with as much as over 100 influencers. And it's like, how do you manage the personalities of over 100 people and make sure that their output is still great? It's still what you need it to be. It's not easy. I've had times of some PTSD times in terms of just trying to manage people, but it's something you need to have. Like, that's a very, very, very key strength you need to have. And then what would I say again? You have to be great with communication. Yeah? Okay. Because there's strategy, yes, there's this and that, but your communication also has to be very clear.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we've spoken about the potentials, right? The juicy part, the money, the impact. Like, these are very nice ways, right? I can earn so much money while I can still make enough impact that is visible for anyone to actually know I'm actually contributing in my department. And we've spoken about the competencies. Okay, I need this, I need that. But what really does a new person that is not familiar with this field entirely, or even they've been in the marketing field for a while, but they want to get started, they want to become an influencer marketer, what do they need to start? How can they start?
Okay. So if we're using a 9-to-5 setting, first off, the only way to do that is to apply for the job, is to apply for the role. Yeah. If it's within your own organization, if there's somebody else, or maybe let's assume there's no one doing this, you can always decide to step up and then take it up. One thing that is important is a very big thing is your network. there's a lot your network has to play in all of this. I think maybe that was even something I left out in terms of what you need, things you need, where so like the skills you need. Networking is also a very important one. Yeah, like if I'm interviewing you, or if anyone is interviewing you, and you can prove to me that, say, 60% of the influencers within this territory, you have like a direct link to them and whatnot, and you're competent in whatever other role you have done, and like the skills we said you need to have to properly manage this role. If you have those skills already, and you can tell me that you have this network of people, even though you don't have the wealth of experience, you would still get that role. Yeah, because you have all the skills required. Yeah, and if it's not a 9-to-5 setting, if it's an entrepreneurial type thing, you want to branch out on your own, the best way to start is get yourself somebody, a business. It doesn't really matter how small, even as small as a 1-day campaign, a 1-week campaign for them. It doesn't even have to be big influencers. Start small, start with nano influencers. Yeah, they're easy to work with, and then work your way up. It's really that simple. And then, but as much as you're starting with small businesses and whatnot, still try to get the wealth of network in terms of get the influencer contacts, because that would really help you go a long way. And in say 3-6 months, you can be doing like major brands. It's really just word of mouth. One business says, okay, this person is good, help me with such a short campaign, and that was great. And then you keep building on them.
So what are the hacks you think one could actually involve in one's journey while you started that can explain how fast you can move in this space? So if you do, like probably even in your own experience, some things you think you've done and has actually helped to scale faster this role.
To be honest, I will still use, which was one thing I just mentioned now, I would say the biggest hack is your networking prowess. Your networking skill is the biggest hack for this, in all honesty, because this role is centered around people. Again, this is my own method, how I do it, how this has worked great for me. You follow them. It doesn't hurt to follow, engage with their content, try to understand them. Even in the course of working with them, if you end up working with them, just try to understand them better and all of that. Try to also ask them questions that can still help you connect with other influencers like themselves. Yeah. And then networking on the other end is now networking with brands and companies. More of this has more to do with being, I wouldn't say you don't have to be an extrovert to do this job, but this has more to do with putting yourself out there, being in spaces where you can get to interact with these companies, get to interact with these brands, because what that does for you is you're also getting to sell yourself. As this influencer marketing person, you get to sell yourself properly. You find that then you have a contact or two. If you have an idea of what you think this brand should be doing, you can always pitch it to them. And that's how it rolls. Because, hey, if you give me a solid idea, there's no how I'm going to take a chance on you.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's really the strongest, that's the biggest hack.
Yeah, thank you for that. So how does it in day-to-day feel like? Probably in a very short time. What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So let's do like a week in the life of, if anything. So we assume that it's day 1 or 5 days. There are 5 days in a week. It's day 1, and then you have just decided on a campaign that your company or organization wants to run, or a brand that has reached out to you wants to run this XYZ campaign. Yeah. the first thing to do is obviously understand what the idea is, understand what they're trying to achieve. When you understand this, you can proper put down a strategy. Create a strategy in terms of, okay, how do you want to show up on this your own channel, influencer, where influencers are concerned? What would be the right approach? Next is, well, I would say this most likely next day type thing. You've come up with your strategy, and then you now have to align this strategy with who would be the best fit. After that, what's next? Then you need to reach out to these influencers. If it's you reaching out, if it's somebody on your team, however the case, but these influencers need to be reached out to. You need to kind of make them understand. For a lot of influencers, it's on a rate card basis, being that, okay, so this is just my rate. If it's a video, this is the rate. If it's an image, this is the rate. So it's not really a case of how creative they get. They just have their fixed rates. You've already at this point tailored your strategy to fit into these guys. So then, okay, so you send them what you have proposed, then wait for them to get back. In terms of, for some influencers, you have to handhold them and pretty much even create the whole storyboard for them and whatnot. Other influencers, that's not the case. So once you've agreed on that, then hey, they proceed to shoot, or whichever the case, pretty much proceed to shoot what you need to, send it back to you to vet. Is this fine? Are there things that need to be edited? In terms of, okay, when you're finally fine with that, then it comes down to a posting schedule, posting timeline. Okay, this is what you're going to put out at XYZ time, what the caption going to be, all of that. So this is something that can be done within a week, and it's something that might take more than a week, depending on the number of influencers you're working with and depending on their own delivery timelines. It sounds easy and glamorous, but
no. Yeah, because I can see people management all through the process. I'm just have to be dealing with people at every point. That's not easy, of course. That's never easy.
I mean, so it's not. It's not where you just sit down and then just have, like, this is the theory of things and you can do your whole job on your own, like just in front of a computer. No, you don't have that luxury. You actually need to interact with people.
But can it be done remotely?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So what tools do you averagely use, or do you think tools actually is it very important in this case?
Well, so depending on what you're trying to measure and depending on what you're trying to achieve with the tool per time, I would say tools are important and at the same time maybe not as important. A lot of influencer marketing tools that you have, they kind of help you fish out the influencers. Most of these tools work best outside Nigeria, but you can still use them within Nigeria as well, because what these tools really help you do is find the influencers, give you an idea of how much these influencers should be paid. These tools also would help you to measure like their audience, where the audience split in terms of what country, what region, do they have a larger audience, and stuff like this helps in terms of if I wanted to do a campaign, a Ramadan campaign, for instance, for CocaCola in Nigeria, and then the influencer I want to work with, although Nigerian, has a largely American audience, it's not going to resonate. Like, as much as you are a great influencer, my target audience is not sitting with you right now. So these tools help you to kind of get that as well, and stuff like that. But one thing, for instance, why I was saying for Nigeria it's not the greatest is a lot of these tools don't measure accurately in terms of how much pricing and stuff like that for Nigeria. As much as these tools will help you, it's better for you to get the juice yourself as well. For instance, even if you do like a campaign on Twitter, with influencers on Twitter, and then they've run a hashtag for you and stuff like that. If you're using a tool to track the hashtag and what it has done, yes, you're going to get 1,000,001 impressions or whatnot that this has gotten. But then how much of that really feeds to the actual message you're trying to pass?
Thank you for sharing that with us. So quickly, I would say, what career progression opportunities exist as an influencer marketer?
Well, so with influencer marketing, there's a lot you can do. Again, it's within the marketing space, so you can take up almost any other role where marketing is concerned. Yeah, because the most important thing is that you understand marketing in general before you even get into this. And so you can progress from there to, if you want to be a marketing manager, you can do that. If you want to be a brand manager, you can do that, because the point is you understand a brand manager still sits with marketing and then people, and then just plotting a lot of numbers in terms of how do you want to show up for your brand, which goes, it's a lot more than just influencer marketing and all of that. There's a lot of numbers there, but yes, you can easily go into that. This with influencer marketing as well, it's easy for you to get in the communication space. It's easy for you to get in the PR space as well. So away from marketing roles, there's PR, there's communication that is also great, and your skills would 100% work perfectly for.
That's actually very good. That's very, I think that's actually a lot of opportunities after earning all the amount you earn at least. So it's a good way to scale even out of the marketing department. So quickly, what I want to ask, okay, you can actually scale into other roles, right? But how do you even scale monetary value? I mean, so you're good at this already, and you can actually give us some of these tips that you've used yourself. How can I scale my earnings as an influencer marketer?
So like I said at the beginning, the way to make more money is to do more. Is to do more. And even with doing more sometimes doesn't mean working with more people, or it's more of a work smart, not necessarily work super hard. You find that with, I mentioned earlier the different tiers of influencers and whatnot. If you are going with, say for instance, a commission model and whatnot, it pays you better to work with the bigger influencers, with the celebrities, which are the mega influencers, because what this means is they're earning much more and you're also earning much more, and you don't need to work with too many people. There's what the wealth of experience will do for you as well. The more time you've done this for, the more authority you command in this, and the more people trust you and are willing to pay you more to help them achieve what they need to. There's also your work speaks for you.
I think that's actually very, very important. Doing good work and also letting that work speak for you over time. And also, don't forget to start a business as well. Okay, quickly, so I'll say certifications or nay. Are those important?
Certifications are important as much as possible, but certifications do not determine if you get the job or not. So if I were to simplify it, if you ask me certification or experience, which one would work more in my favor, or which one would get me a better offer? Your experience will get you a better offer than what the certification will get you, where this role is concerned.
Yeah, quite simply.
But you need principles as well, so that's where
all that can come from certifications.
Into play.
Okay. Thank you. Because for me, I would say, you don't need a certification. Just go, and I think that's quite important. Principles keeps us in the game and it makes us different, right? So quickly, just 2 questions left. And first will be, how do I keep getting noticed? How do I stay relevant in the industry? I know you've been in the industry for so long and you're still relevant, so relevant. And just a very good tip to everyone there. Sometimes you just see her just tagging all these influencers and they respond. And I'm like, sorry, let's just come back to the game. So, how do you keep relevance?
Connect with people. Connect with the brand, connect with the influencers, the individuals. Like that's one thing you need to be able to do. Connect with people, get to understand. Again, per time you need to kind of ask questions, want to know what they're trying to do. You need to try to prefer solutions. Like if you're somebody that I know is going to prefer a solution to me, I would always come to you. Yeah. And even with influencers, if you don't even, it might not be your own job. Like if you can connect them to even other jobs, like, oh, somebody wants to do this and I heard about this opportunity, I think you'd be a great fit. Connect them together. There's no way with anything, if you need to work on some project with this influencer will be very great for you at the end of the day. But the biggest thing is connect. So there's let your work speak for you. And as much as you want your work to speak for you, you should talk about your work too.
Be your own influencer, basically.
Yes, be your own influencer.
Cool. So lastly will be a very salient question, which is, if you were starting again with all the experience that you have, how would you have cut corners? Let's not use cut corners so it doesn't look as if we're doing something bad here. How would you have cut corners still?
You're still saying cut corners.
Okay.
How would I have
to the roof and scale your career very, very fast in this space?
If I were to start again, to be honest, I think I'll start out on my own. Have my own company, regardless of how small again. Because I said, if you're starting out yourself, start small. But I would start on my own, be confident in my own self and strategies. Start with small businesses and, build up that wealth of experience and then pitch to as many brands as possible and get them to work with me. Because as much as doing this on a 9-to-5 scale is cool and all of that, it cannot be compared to doing it as your own business. It's a lot more lucrative, it's a lot more fulfilling when the praise is directly to you, when the work is directly connected to you, as opposed to doing it under the umbrella of another organization. So I would say, and a lot of what I've done it a lot in the 9-to-5 setting. So I would say I would branch out on my own from the start.
That's actually a whole lot to pack into one session, and we can't be any more grateful and just say thank you for making out the time. And to everyone listening, and you're still here at this point, it's quite easy to see and think it's very easy to be this person, working for global brands, working for even New York listed companies like Jumia for years, and also leading and championing Godrej right now. It has not been a simple thing. Working with different brands like CocaCola, Samsung, Apple, all of the brands you've used, that I use, that each and every one of us use, it has actually been a lot of experience. And I'll just say thank you again for making our time to share a wealth of experience with people looking to start out in this space and people also in one of that spaces and trying to move over to more lucrative roles in marketing. And I think the end justifies the means. You can see who she is and where she's been right now, and you can actually follow her and on Instagram, so you can actually see all I say every time, and also our brand Bubblegum. Thank you so much for coming on our Growth to Market series, brought to you by Growthverse. Thank you to my team members as well, that we were all here doing all this together to bring this to a point. Thank you so much, and we hope that we could actually reach out to you sometime again to even dig deeper in some of these roles and help more people transition into the non-coding part of tech. Thank you so much, Damilola Olalegan. Thank you so much. And
Thank
cheers to
you.
Bubblegum and the team. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Catch you in the next one.